Hi guys, I'm Abby and this is my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a stir fry. I have my 4 ingredients that I'm going to put in, but first we're going to start by chopping the ones that aren't chopped up already. I have an onion that I'm going to chop. I have mushrooms that are already sliced, so I'm going to keep them that way. I have chopped kale, and then I have a head of cauliflower that I'm going to chop up and make smaller. But those are my main 4 ingredients that I'm going to put in this stir fry. And this stir fry is something I have been making recently, and it's very easy to make. It's easy to make and it's easy to kind of change up. These aren't necessarily the 4 ingredients you have to use all the time. When I first started making this, instead of cauliflower, I would put a sweet potato. That's just a lot of starch. And then you can have different onions, different mushrooms. I put peppers in it. So really you can choose any kind of vegetables that you like, or you can even add in meat if you so choose. But I'm gonna chop up these vegetables. This is such an easy recipe to make. I usually make this, and I have been making it a lot just because it's so simple to do. It doesn't require a ton of cooking. As I chop them, I'm going to just put them in this bowl. I'm not going to use everything of all these ingredients besides the mushrooms and the onions, because if I was to use everything, all that I got here, I don't have a big enough bowl. But a great thing about this recipe, besides that you can change up the vegetables that you put in depending on what you have, you can also change the sauce. The sauce I'm using for this recipe is just kind of my favorite that I've used. And since I do buy some pre-sliced things, it makes this recipe even easier. You know, all I have to do is dump in the mushrooms and those are done. And then I also got pre-chopped kale. Sometimes it is a little big and I have to chop it up a little bit more, but I think it's fine in the bag I got. Now I'm just going to cut up my cauliflower. I don't think I'm going to use all my cauliflower or just add it in as I go, just because the size of my pan doesn't allow for the whole head of cauliflower. I'm going to use about half to 3/4 of the cauliflower. And today we're just going to make some rice to go along with this vegetable stir fry. And that's about as much cauliflower as I'm going to use right now. And I'm just going to chop these up into bite-sized pieces and add them to the bowl. You can cut them as small or leave them as large as you like. Just with the larger pieces, you just have to cook it longer in the pan. That's totally fine. The kale does take a while to cook. So there we have all our vegetables chopped up. I didn't want to put too much in it because we need to fit it in the pan to cook. But we're gonna head over to the stove and get ready. So here we are over the stove. We're going to light up a nice saucepan and throw in some olive oil to heat to get started. The first vegetable we're gonna put in is our kale, because it just needs a lot of time to cook down. It takes up a lot of room in the pan. So we're gonna add that in with the olive oil to the amount that you like. I use about half the bag of kale that I bought, which is about 1.5 cups of kale. And we're just going to let that cook for a small bit and heat up the pan with the olive oil and the kale. As the kale starts to cook, we're gonna start on our rice here. We're gonna light up in a nice medium to size saucepan, and we're going to add in our butter. We're just gonna make 1 cup of rice, so we just need 1 tablespoon of butter. We're cooking the rice to its directions on the bag. I just have Thai jasmine rice. I like using this rice because it doesn't need any pre-washing. We're gonna add a cup of dry rice in, and then cooking to the directions, we need 2 cups of liquid. You usually do water, but to add more flavor, I like to add chicken broth. So we're going to add 2 cups of chicken broth along with our rice, and we're going to let that come to a boil. while our kale is cooking on the other side. So our kale has been cooking down a little bit and started to wilt. So we're gonna start adding in our other vegetables slowly. I'm not gonna add all the bowl at once because it can still overflow, and start to cook those with the olive oil and the kale. As our vegetables are cooking, we're gonna make sure our rice is stirred a little bit and it's starting to boil. So we're gonna turn down the heat to very low, and then we're going to put a lid on the pot and let it sit for about 15 minutes. Now that our vegetables have cooked for a bit, we're going to add in our sauces. I'm gonna start with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and then I'm gonna add in 4 tablespoons of our stir-fry Szechuan sauce. You can always add more or less depending on the flavor that you want. I like it pretty spicy and full, so I add about 4 or more tablespoons. And we're just going to slowly mix in the sauces and let this cook until our vegetables are to the consistency that we want. Usually this takes not too much longer than the rice, so once the rice is done, just let the rice cool, and then your vegetables should be pretty close to done also. Once the time is up on your rice, you're gonna take off the lid carefully for the steam, and then give it a good stir, and it should be done. Nice, good rice. And we're gonna turn off the heat and then let that cool while our vegetables finish cooking, and then it'll be ready to serve. So our vegetables finished cooking, so now we're gonna get a bowl. I like to use nice little bowls like this for this meal, and we're going to put a nice layer of rice at the bottom, and then we're gonna come over to our vegetables and scoop it right on top of the rice. And there's plenty of juice at the bottom of the pan of the vegetables to add on along with your stir fry. You can put as little as much vegetables as you like on top of your rice. I like to put a nice good helping. And there is a nice vegetable stir fry. You can use a fork or a spoon to eat this with. The sauce gives a nice spicy flavor and plenty of sauce to go over your rice. So that, guys, is my nice easy vegetable stir fry. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Down below in the description box will be the ingredients and the recipe instructions. Give this video a good like if you enjoyed this, and comment down below what vegetables you prefer in your stir fry. And I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, if you want to be someone, why not be you? Bye, guys.